Borderlands 3 is just a couple days away, and if you're anything like me, your hype is on fire, just like Marcus's section of the Sanctuary ship. So today I thought it'd be really cool, as we wait for launch, to highlight 5 bosses from Borderlands 3. They're the first 5 bosses you'll face, and I'll show you some tips and tricks on how to take them down and how diverse the variety is. Now, you may have seen 1 or 2 of these before, but there are 100% some new faces in here that I guarantee you have not seen before, and the boss battles thus far have been amazing. I am super deep into the campaign. I've seen a lot of planets, a lot of places, a lot of bosses, but without further ado, let's get on with it. Let me know in the comments down below your favorite boss you see in today's video and why. Smash that like button if you're pumped for Borderlands 3. It comes out on Friday. I cannot freaking wait for it. Alrighty, let's showcase the first boss of the game. Just a few minutes into your experience, you will meet this foe.
I'm gonna sharpen my blade on your spine!
Shiv made a huge mistake in bringing a knife to a game all about guns, and his mistake shows real quick, as Shiv can be put to bed in about a minute flat. Now, enjoy it while it lasts, because the bosses will get a heck of a lot beefier as we go, and before the end of this video, you will see bosses that have tons of health, tons of shields, and tons of attacks that actually can hurt you from afar, unlike Shiv and his tiny arm, who's basically child's play. But he is important because he's the first named foe of the title, and he is the one that will probably gift you with your first ever level up. By taking out Shiv, we reach level 2, we reach our action skill, and as Flak, we reach our Beastmaster buddies. So I like to think of Shiv as my boss animal shelter. He housed all of my pets, and now I've unlocked them and I'm ready to roar through the rest of Pandora. Now, there are 2 bosses on the starting planet before we hit the solar system above, and the next foe is a lot more formidable. A little while later, you will run into this very angry musical man. Mouthpiece has a following, and they'll show up in the form of supporting characters, but it's important to stay away from this dude and to pay attention to his speaker blast in the periphery. You gotta really keep a watchful eye so you don't get caught in those explosive blasts, and make sure that you keep your fire focused on Mouthpiece as much as possible. He does have a few frames of invincibility while he's charging up one of his attacks, so pay attention to that, but otherwise it's a pretty straightforward fight. No shields, 1 health bar, and some cool guns. He'll also gift you with the first really important piece of loot. It's a pistol called the Killing Word, and one that will power you through the next couple of main missions, so make sure you grab it after taking out Mouthpiece. I love having one of my Beastmaster buddies here to help out. I'm rocking the Guard Skag and the Gamma Blast action skill. It's my favorite combo in the game. If you're going to play solo and want to work against some of these bigger, better bosses, I think Flak is absolutely the way to go, because he provides you with a helper character that can draw some of the aggro and also packs an incredible punch. And then that Gamma action does drop some incredible damage over time on the bosses that will shockingly wear through their system really fast. Now, I go down here, but luckily he has some friends, and I'm thankful for bosses that do have supporting characters, because as a solo player, without the supporting characters, supporting enemies, if I wasn't able to take them out while I was down, there would be no second win. In fact, we'll see a boss battle later in the video where there are very few supporting enemies, and it is a very tricky run for your life battle. But now we are busting our skills to another level and ready to finish the fight against Mouthpiece.
That's your cue, Apocalypse! Is that all you got?
Down goes Mouthpiece and out pops the loot. It's a tiny firework, it's just a little one, something you'd see in your neighborhood on the 4th of July. But we're already on to the next big baddie, and this is our first off-planet boss, because you'll meet Gigamind on Promethea, the first place we touch down after reaching Sanctuary 3 in the skies. And Gigamind reminds me so much of a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles villain. He's got those Krang vibes, and he looks like a character straight out of my favorite childhood show. And even though he min-maxed his intelligence, he didn't min-max his strategy, because he spends most of the fight in the center of the arena, where he's most vulnerable from our long-range attacks. Deal some elemental damage, and you'll take out his shield in no time. Now, he does bring some friends along for the fight, and they will have aerial shields, so you'll need to focus on taking out those aerial shields and removing the enemies from the periphery, because occasionally Gigamind will move that way, and you want to be able to focus your fire on the main bad dude. But he's not that hard, and in the interest of time, we're going to skip forward a few minutes. It's probably a 5 or 6 minute fight. Once you get that shield down, it's really easy to chew into his health bar. Here's one of those aerial shields I was talking about right now, and it's important to focus on that, get it gone, and then you can work through the trooper on the ground. Gigamind does have some pretty powerful attacks, but they're slow moving, so if you keep your distance, he's not going to be too much of a problem. And again, you're seeing the value of Flack's Beastmaster buddies drawing fire, dealing damage, and making sure that I have the space I need so that I don't go down. Because here we have another helper enemy spawning in, trying to provide Gigamind with a little bit of a buff and boost. It's just not working. Our Skag is dealing damage, and so are we. I'm constantly picking up ammo. And there's a boss fight later in the video where everything kind of goes wrong. There's no helper enemies, there's no extra ammo. We'll see that when we get to it. So maybe some of you have seen Gigamind, but I promise that you have not seen the next bosses. These are the first 3 fights, and they're pretty standard. They ease you into the experience. Remember when I said that Borderlands really picks up once you hit Promethea? Well, it really picks up. The next boss is incredibly challenging, so I enjoyed my time against Gigamind. Now, I was surprised that Gigamind did not drop any loot that I loved, especially after receiving the killing word from Mouthpiece. I was a bit bummed that this Megamind wannabe didn't have anything grand, but I've really enjoyed the variety in the weaponry thus far. I'd say the enemy variety outside of the bosses is pretty darn strong as well. But let's take out Megamind and enjoy the rest of the fight. There he goes, popping loot and saying sayonara. Now, if you enjoy the look of this brainy boy, fear not, because there are smaller versions of him called Nogs that will plague your adventure much more. Many more times. Alright, another planet, another boss. I won't even spoil the name of this planet or who is all here, but boy is this boss a big one. Captain Tron is self-absorbed, and rightfully so, because he is where the game really ups the ante. He is a super strong boss with a wide variety of attacks, a ton of helper enemies, and the ability to affect you not only from the center of the arena, but he has these attacks that circle the perimeter as well, making it super hard to stay safe, super tricky to regen shields, and you've got to be on your toes the entire fight. This is no longer a case where you can just stand back and plow into the boss. He's got big shields and a big health bar. Now, you'll notice there are a lot of enemies surrounding the periphery of the arena, and they'll be super helpful for second wind if you need them. He also has attacks, though, that pass through these exact passageways. You just saw an icy blast go right through us, dealing massive damage, and you're going to want to be careful to not get hit by his passive attacks that encircle, and then also his active attacks that bomb in from above. It is a really challenging fight, and you're going to have to bring your A game. I got here a little bit under-leveled, and actually had to leave the fight and go grab some side missions in order to progress forward, level up, get a little stronger, gain more health, and make it all work. Tron is a tough one for sure. The only safe area in the entire arena is probably in these corners. That's where those encircling perimeter attacks can't hit us, but as you'll see, we progress in the battle, and he gets a little bit smart to our strategy. While this fireball that is incoming will not hit me as I look for more ammo, he is able to bring in fire attacks of his own, so you've got to stay moving. I have 1 health here. This was such a lucky find that I was able to grab health packs in the middle of the arena. Otherwise, it was game over for my guy. Now, you don't have to worry about taking out too many of the supporting enemies because they will continue to respawn and provide a lot of fodder for your second wins. And once you get through the shield, I advise placing all of your emphasis on Tron himself. That health bar just seems to go down a lot faster than the shields do, and he is one you gotta get rid of quickly. And make sure that you're always ammoing up. There's a lot of it in this arena, and just do your best to stay on the move. It's possible to jump over those fireball and ice ball attacks that come through the hallway, so you can use that to your advantage. And then just try and keep these enemies down, but not out, so that if you need to, you can get them back once you hit the pavement. Now, let's see how long it takes us to finish off Tron and win a very, very tough but awesome Borderlands 3 battle.
I missed you, boy. Muzzle off, boy.
There you have it, a ferocious finish to finish off one of the toughest cookies I've yet seen. Luckily, he drops a lot of loot, so it is rewarding. We'll grab some good upgrades and some good guns, and it feels so nice to have that fool down. Here is a really awesome battle against a ball?
Fragment. Not so fast. Freeze ball! No!
The Katagawa Ball is very round, and it also hates you. This is an incredible boss. It is massive, and its attacks are insanely damaging. It has a ton of health, and it can take your health out in an instant. Watch how fast I die in my first attempt against Katagawa Ball. If he gets a direct hit on you with some of his more powerful elemental blasts, you are just down for the count. You gotta constantly stay moving. And what makes this fight so tough is that there aren't any, at least in my encounter, aren't really any other enemies to work with. So if you go down, it is just about game over. Now, you will see that a few spawn there, but on my second attempt against Katagawa, there weren't any. So I don't know what experience you'll have, but it's much harder in these encounters when there aren't enemies to play with outside of the boss. There's also not a lot of ammo, and he takes so much that this was a very daring, nerve-wracking, anxiety-inducing fight. I loved it a lot, though, because he does have some really cool, colorful, and chaotic attacks. Plus, once you bust off that main shield, he becomes a lot more digestible. You'll just pour into him bullet after bullet. But you want to keep your distance because all of these attacks have incredible range. There are some nooks and crannies that you can hide in. Even my pet, though, isn't going to be of much help in this instance because Katagawa Ball is up in the air. Now, he can launch a little bit of love from down below, but my Gamma Burst is not going to work anywhere near as well as it did against any of the previous 4 bosses. So this 5th foe, I don't think he's as tough as the captain we just saw, but he definitely is time consuming. This was the longest battle of the game up to this point by far, and one that I really enjoyed. That has been the theme of the game for me. I'm loving Borderlands 3 so much, and I can't wait to show you the next set of bosses. Definitely let me know in the comments down below which of these bosses is your favorite that you have seen thus far. Hit that like button if you're excited for Borderlands 3 and enjoyed the video. Let me know if you have any questions or anything you want to see. I'm trying to bring you guys really cool content every day leading up to the launch of this looter shooter that does things in style. This guy has fireworks of his own, and luckily he is going to bring insane fireworks once we pop his pinata. But there's still a whole another health bar to go. It's really a time-consuming fight. Luckily, his attacks aren't as focused. They're very encompassing in terms of touching down in the arena in many places, but if you sprint around, you should be able to avoid. There's a lot of cover for you to hide behind. I thought maybe I could find kind of a special spot to unload my shotgun, but you'll see that he is even able to damage me here with some more projectile base attacks instead of those beams, and I gotta be careful because there is not much to grab. No health, no ammo. I picked it all up in a previous battle because you will have to fight in this arena prior to duking it out with Katagawa Ball. There's a bunch of enemies. I magically came upon a little bit of ammo there at the end. I thought I had cleared the entire room, but there were a few more pods to pick through, but it ended up being this shotgun that won the day, because as you'll see, I only have a clip in each of my automatic rifles. I've got a bunch of dropped weaponry there, but that's not going to help me. It's going to be the shotgun that saves the day against Katagawa Ball. But that is just about going to wrap it up for us here. Watch me finish this fight, and I'll talk to you before we're out of here. Dude, this attack would make Travis Scott proud. I feel like Katagawa Ball is taking us to Astro World, and as you can see, critical strikes on his center core deal a ton of damage. And look at that falling loot. So much glory coming from the skies, including a legendary. It's just a skin, but maybe you will stumble upon something even better from this balled up boss battle. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Cannot wait for you to get your hands on Borderlands 3. I'll be bringing you more content and coverage as we crawl towards Friday. It feels so far away, but it's also so close. So thanks so much for watching. Hope you're having a fantastic freaking day. Until next time, everybody, drink some hot chocolate. I love you a lot, and we will see you all later.